look like yet. All right, I am live. Good morning. I'm doing my 0 DTE SPX roadmap. This is still pretty raw. And we're gonna go with a screen share. And let's talk about what's going on. Okay, so I think we kind of are aware of what happened overnight, and I don't have an SPX chart to pull up. I'll figure that out later. We pulled back over the weekend, Friday night after the market closed. Moody's downgraded U.S. debt. We pulled back to around 5,900-ish, a little bit higher, and then the future stopped trading, so we had like a save by the bell kind of setup. Then the overnight session, we kind of pulled back to this area here, to the 59, where are we here? The 58, 70, 75, 85 area, really. Right where we have a little bit of light support in here. And now, last I looked, we were chopping in this zone right here, the 58, 85, 90 to 5,900, which is actually a pretty likely stall area for today. So now let's look at what the main features are. And let's start off. I have this set way too far. So this is options depth we're looking at. We don't need to see 50, 55 because we're not going there. So let's make it 59.80 on top. And let's just get a little below 5,800 on the bottom. You can adjust what you want to see.
So you're looking at market. You're looking at customers.
Right now, I'm looking at market makers.
Okay, because it's kind of hard to see on my phone.
Yeah.
Like when you pull a screen up like that, exactly. Because I'm following along with you, looking at option depth.
Okay.
So your market.
And that's good to know. Now, how do I? There's also a way to invite people to the YouTube stream without inviting them to be participants.
Right. I think once you set up a broadcast, you can share that link, and then they will join you on YouTube or whatever you're streaming to.
Yeah, there's a link somewhere. I did it before, but I don't remember where that link is.
Yeah, I think you do it as part of setting up your broadcast, and then you have this link. And then people will join you on YouTube, and they will comment. They can comment on YouTube. When you've invited them backstage, they can comment on private chat.
Gotcha.
So you would have two things going if when you go live.
Yeah, last time there was a link somewhere in like one of my sidebars to invite people from here to send to you guys on the.
Yeah, I don't know the platform well enough to be able to tell you how to get there. I was just checking it out when you signed up initially because I was curious about it.
Yeah. So anyway, I got lucky the other day. Meantime, we don't have that many people now. So I'm just going to kind of figure it out and go from there. Okay, yeah, so this is market maker positions. So the way I like to do it, first I like to see market maker positions. And so to the right, this is market maker long, customer short. So we know these are support or mean reversion zones. And so let's look where the main levels are. 59.20. So we should stall. If we go north, we should stall near 59.20. That's our first stall zone. We have this little feature over here, 58.80, where we kind of stopped. And that's kind of where we have this butterfly looking feature here, and that's kind of where we stalled for in the overnight session. Now we have these three customer long market makers short little stack ladder. So that kind of formation tends to lead to pull back to this area, bounce, climb up the ladder, and stall here. So default setup is right in this area, kind of stalling, chopping kind of action. And that could easily be kind of the story of the day. Now let's just if then it. So if we can get, this is not a big stall area over here. If you look, it's not that many puts or calls. I don't know if you can see it. Because the size of the bar compared to everything else. So this can be overrun relatively quickly. So if we can get over this zone here, really the stall area is 59.20. Pretty much the top of the chop zone is here. We don't have great support. We managed to stall here, but it's not great. So if this breaks down, everything flips. Market makers are short skew and they have to chase down toward 58.50. So to the left is where market makers have to chase. To the right is where things slow down. So we have this slowdown area here. We have, kind of could get messy down towards 50.55. We have enough here to maybe slow it down. Now this is a 0 DT. You have to remember there's a 4 complex there. But below 58.30, we have lots of sold stuff. We have tons of sold puts, calls, whatever it is, puts down here at 5,800. So I'm pretty comfortable selling premium down here somewhere. I'm pretty comfortable selling premium above here somewhere. So, 58.60 to sell and 58.10 to sell, somewhere in there, as kind of like my opening salvo. And that's kind of how I, now in terms of directional moves, the directional move on the breakdown would be better on the breakout, I think, judging from what we see now. Let's take a look here. Okay, again, we don't need to see all the way up in the sky. Let's go 58.80 on top with the call. Not 58, excuse me, 59.80. Just right above the round number of 75. I always like the round numbers. And on the bottom, let's just go below the round number. Well, these are calls, so let's just go 5,800 on the calls. We had some sold calls, some straddly kind of things here. So we see customers are long calls at 58.30, so that's going to add supportive action. We have all these customers short calls over here, but it doesn't really matter because that's still market maker long gamma. And so that ends up being what we see. I don't have them synchronized. It ends up being what we see over here. And I go with position numbers. And here on the put side, well, we have 5,900. That's fine. We have all these customers short puts here at 5,900. That's kind of adding that stally feature. But then as we move away, market makers have to buy, and it brings us back up. Let's go up to, I'm sorry, I had to think I looked at that wrong. Let's go up here. real simple customer positions. So we have customers. $59, $58.95. Okay, so we have customers long puts in the 5,900 area. Short here at 59.20. That was the stalling feature. We have customer short calls up here. Short calls at 5,900. So it looks like 5,900 we have kind of a synthetic short, which in a market maker position will translate into this mess we're seeing here. That's why we don't really have a clear line here at 5,900. But remember, when we look at the full complex, things clear out a little more. You know, we have this nice 5,900 loading. Let's see. Okay, now this here is the 5,900, the 6,000 long calls that a bunch of them were bought on Friday, which obviously turns out wasn't a great idea. Seemed like a good idea at the time, right? I even spent $95 buying a broken wing butterfly around that. Oh well.
Yeah, no, it was worth it though, because seeing the way you structured the fly, it turned the wheel in my head. Like I understood why you let, you know, it was broken wing, and I understand. I'm like, okay, he left more width as price would move up into the tent, and then the smaller width was above, you know, with it centered around 6,005. So
yeah, exactly, giving it plenty of room if it wants to go crazy, giving me plenty of room. Exactly. Really, I should have done it by 3. I should have sold 3 at 605, but whatever, you know. It was the end of the day lotto. So yeah, but I'm glad you got the idea of the way it's structured. For 95 cents, I could easily make 500 or more, 800 if we got that. That was the idea.
It was close to 10 to 1 risk reward. So I'm like, that's
yeah. If we struck the sweet spot, like to the penny, right? 10
right,
to 1, right.
So it was like I understood the structure. I'm like, okay, it's a lotto, you know, it's a over the weekend lotto in case Trump says something,
Exactly.
and you know we gap up 50, 60 points.
Exactly.
And what happened was we gapped down 50, 60 points. So oh well.
Oops. I guess the other lotto would have worked.
Yeah. So I have a question. As
Sure.
these 6,000s, I mean, they're so far out of the money right now. Their decay isn't going to influence market makers. Is that
right? Their decay is nothing at this point. I don't know what they are. 2 delta, 5 delta. You know, they're pretty much meaningless. Probably not even a 5 delta. Probably a 2 delta.
Okay. And something else I've picked up from the Substack is you trade a lot more than I thought you did. Like I thought you put on your morning spreads, and you know we're kind of wrap things up before lunch, and then play directional flies and that kind of thing. But you're actually playing spreads directionally. If you feel the market's going to take a dip or it's going to rise, you'll play spreads throughout the day.
Yeah. So like what I might do, just like hypothetically, or I might do in actuality, but right now it's hypothetical. You know, it's like what I have in my mind here. Let this thing load. Like as we were talking about the potential if then, right? Come on. And let's look at the market maker positions. That's kind of the easiest way to do this for me. Come on. This is my old 2016 Falcon laptop that was great in 2016, but or 2017, but a decade later, it's not quite as great. So this is all right. Market maker positions. Is that correct? Yeah, I guess it is. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm looking at the totally wrong area. Okay. So what I want to look for is I would look for maybe along into this area here, or maybe a fly structure right here. Oops, that sucks. Something right into this. Let me get it back to normal zoom. What I do? There we go. That's a crazy zoom. I would want to look. What looks the best is if we break below here. Here we go. If we break below this area here, this 90.85, there's really nothing to stop it. So what I'll sometimes do, let's just say we're messing around up here, 5,900, trying to break it, whatever. I might grab I don't know, a 70, 60, 50. I might grab a butterfly or a spread, a put spread, debit spread, targeting a path to here. I don't expect it to get here necessarily, but I might buy, if we're up here, I might buy like a 70, 60 or something like that. Or I might buy or a fly, a broken wing fly or something, or on here, cheapy, if I can get it for 25, 30 cents. And then just depending on how the day unfolds, try and monetize it, add to it, or mess around with that. And then similarly, if we're down here, I'm going to try and get something targeting 5,900. And that's kind of the way I'm going to look at it initially. Look at that. I'm turning around and I'm looking at the market, and it looks like everybody said, yeah, Moody's downgrade, no big deal.
Okay.
Let me see if I can, how am I going to get a chart here?
So just so you know, I logged on to mobile through Substack, and but now I'm watching the stream on YouTube.
Okay.
And it's much easier to see what you're doing on YouTube.
Okay.
Keep in mind,
now, how do I give people the YouTube link is the question.
So when you go to set up the presentation and you choose the platform that you're going to stream to, in this case it's YouTube,
Right.
It will generate a link. So you would copy that and paste it.
Where would I find that link generated?
I think as you go through setting up the presentation, I forget their terminology, but
right.
you choose your destination that you're going to stream to, and then it'll give you that link. And you can actually schedule these things too, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah,
so
I
you
saw
can
that.
send out.
I'm gonna have to play with that whenever, and just have my morning thing scheduled for 8:30 or whatever every day.
Exactly. Or if you're going to do spaces on X, you could send out a link saying we're going to be at on come join us. We're going to be on spaces at 8:30 tomorrow morning.
Right, and I'll be doing that. It's probably gonna take me a week or so till the end of the month to really figure out how to do this stuff. Because as
Sure.
I will readily admit, I'm not a techie.
But I think you did well as far as choosing what you did. The StreamYard, I think you did well
Yeah,
with all the choices that are
I
out there.
stumbled across this somehow,
Mm-hmm. All right, so it's 9 o'clock. I'm gonna
Okay.
hop off. I've been on the road for a week, so this is my first morning back behind the big screens.
Oh yeah, so you have to get reoriented yourself.
Yes, sir.
Now let's just take a quick look at Charm. Then I'm going to hop off also. So quick look at Charm. So we have this same thing we've been looking at, 59.20 stall area. If over 59.20, we drift to here. Below, if we're below this 58.90, we get trapped below here. We have this little 85 where we bottomed out. And if not, then we kind of go lower. And that's it. All right, guys. See you, and I'll put my stuff in and my updated. I'll be doing updated events for paid subscribers or whatever you want to call it. In my usual style, and I'll just kind of throw them they'll either be a note, or I'll just throw them in there without making them a note. I'll throw them in the chat.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Let me end the stream.
I'll chat with you in the Substack. See ya.
Okay. All right. Later.